Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to make videos based on people's responses to my videos. I think that's a very good way to be personable and have my whole intention of this channel is to create conversation. And I know some of my videos I might project myself as like being knowledgeable in these subjects, but to be honest, I know some of you are even more than I am in some ways and have more experience in anabolics. I'm just starting out my this journey, to be honest, taking testosterone cypionate over a month and a half ago, and now in the last few days, 3 days ago, my first primobolan. Before that, I did Anavar and HGH last year in a very therapeutic dose. So I know some of you might be have more experience and have some insight, and I'd love to talk with you directly. So in this video, I'm going to do just that. So I'm just going to go through different comments on some of the comments I've had in the last few days. First one from Lunarn. My experience with D-ball equals huge water retention and crazy high blood pressure. And I just made a video. My last video was on D-ball in itself, and that's kind of what my whole conclusion was, is that the side effects are not worth the cost, and it's not worth the reward, and the rewards aren't even that great either. High blood pressure is something that is can lead to a very serious debilitating health conditions of the heart. The heart is like the most important muscle of the body. So yeah, you don't want to screw around with that too much. You don't want to be taking things that are going to be detrimental to your health in the long term. I want to, in this channel, and in my own journey, I want to take on an approach that's very sustainable over a period of time without having debilitating conditions. And just I already made the video on D-ball, but just to sum it up, it's not worth the cost. It's the rewards are very slim. There's a lot of other options, and just like he was saying, his experience, D-ball, huge water retention, you just bloat the hell up, and crazy high blood pressure. Yeah, that's not great. Another one from Multi-Stock Picker. Will there ever be any progress pics? You've been on gear for months, supposedly. Well, first of all, I took Anavar only cycle back at the end of the summer. I did that for 6 weeks, and a very small dose. Like, I did half of it was just 20 milligrams a day pre-workout, and then I brought it up to 40 milligrams a day. And there was some gains, there were some strength gains. I put on a lot of weight during that time period. Maybe that was a bit of bloating in itself. But as far as progress pics, well, first of all, here I am now. I'm around 212 pounds at 5'10". I'm 40 years old, and so it's a good thing. That's what I'm keeping my own mental note of. But you know, like I said, I'm only a month and a bit into the T cycle and adding the primobolan. If I do make huge gains, I will definitely be giving some hard evidence on that. But maybe this guy just wants some shirtless pics of me. I don't know. I'm just joking. Next one. Let's see. I'll go through. So one guy, he says, again, Lunar, you're doing the right thing by educating yourself. That's number one. Number two is listen to your body. You've lived with it long enough to know when something is wrong. And I totally agree. I think it's very important to be in tune with your body, and any type of changes that happen, whether it be positive or negative, you got to keep note of. And if there's negative things, if it's working for you, then you can continue down that line. But when you're introducing a bunch of substances to your body, then if there's any detrimental side effects, you got to adapt accordingly, and that's what I did do. So I upped my dose from 220 milligrams a week of testosterone to 400 over the course of a few weeks, and I noticed some negative estrogen changes in the body. Very typical. So that's why I went to the primobolan, which is going to mitigate the estradiol effects. So he's absolutely right. And again, he's right in the fact that the most important thing is educating yourself and talking to people. Again, the beauty of YouTube is when you throw things out there, you get these responses for people in this community. And I think that's really great, especially in the realm of anabolics, which, to be honest, is a pretty developing field. Like, I know some of these things have been around for decades, but, you know, in the medical realm of things, they're, I think, way behind. I think bodybuilders who've been doing it, who have the experience, who do the blood work regularly, the proof is in that pudding in itself and in their own experiments. I know some of it's anecdotal, but I think a lot of them, the consensus in the bodybuilding community is where the tip of the spear is. Like, a lot of medical professionals really don't have a clue when it comes to some of these things. So I think that's where YouTube, again, when you listen, who I listen to, people who are anabolic coaches, at least 3 of them that are very good, and if you maybe I'll recommend in another video them to you guys, because there's a lot of great information I've been reading and guidance on that. Okay, next. So next one is having to do with EQ. I made a video that why I'm not taking equipoise, and that was based on some comments that instead of taking primobolan, some people recommended equipoise as a aromatase inhibitor, so to speak. Not in the traditional sense as some aromatase inhibitors that would totally crush your estrogen. You don't want to crush your estrogen, but EQ is one that supposedly that people are saying that can kind of tone the estrogen down. And I've heard some mixed things about that, to be honest. I've heard some people, again, who are pretty reputable, who have questioned that. But the 2 that I know that people have taken and have shown up on the blood work is primobolan and equipoise. Not equipoise, sorry, primobolan and masteron. So those were the 2 that I was kind of torn. I might do masteron later on, maybe in the summer cycle, to kind of like tighten myself up, because it's known to kind of lose body fat and to dry yourself out, as well as cutting down the estrogen effect. But primobolan is kind of the one that I've through my research is most reputable, I would say, and it has all, like, as far as my goals are, is in line with my goals. So but going to EQ, that there's some negative side effects associated with that, including high blood pressure, apparently some neurological issues with that as well. And but you know what, I'm open-minded to it. I told some of these guys who were talking about EQ before that I was going to look more into EQ, and that's what I am doing. Next is about body fat, and it's by Fresh 0678. That body fat is a primary factor in converting the testosterone to the estrogen, and that is totally true. In women specifically, they create estrogen through their ovaries, but as well, secondary is through their fat tissue, through their mammary glands, like the mammary area, which is body fat. So my dog's just tearing shit up on my table here. So yeah, there's the body fat is a major important thing, and like, I'm not somebody who's super like 5% body fat. Like, I got some on me, but I'm pretty good still, muscular guy. So I think when I reach that around the 400 to 400 testosterone per week over doing it 3 times a week, then I start noticing the estrogen effects, which is a little bit of tenderness around the nips, and as well the back knee and things like that. So that's why I added the primobolan to kind of mitigate that. And I think that was a good move on my part. Next, what doses am I going to run testosterone, primobolan, and then HGH on top of that? So I'm going to start with, so I brought the testosterone from 250 milligrams to 400, and now in the last 3 days I've introduced 300 milligrams of primobolan a week. So it's like a 400 milligrams to 300 milligram per week ratio, test to primo, and then in about a week or two I'm going to add the GH to that and run that GH for the rest of my cycle. And essentially, so I don't crush my estrogen, because estrogen, I mentioned in one of my other videos, hey, get down, get down. I mentioned in my other videos that estrogen is converts the GH to IGF factor 1, which is the whole point of taking GH is to convert to the IGF, where the real anabolic growth and rebuilding of muscle happens. Okay, I'll continue going through. Let's see, anything else? Bro, I enjoy you sharing your journey. You seem very down to earth. I appreciate that. Don't change that. And thank you. Like, that's my whole intention, is to just speak honestly and off the top of my head. My background is massage therapy. So I'm still wearing my work clothes right now. I'm a massage therapist in Canada. We're not just like a masseuse. We're actually part of the medical industry. So we have legit medical training, and my background is in psychology before that. So I have a somewhat extensive background in just human physiology, human pathology, biology, and around. So that's why I can look into things and discern. I think I have a good way to be able to discern truth and fallacy, and see what's real and what's not, and then confirm it with real legit studies. And that's what I did. That's what I do with, like the other day, I looked at a study on D-ball that was done back in the day, and it showed that the guys who took D-ball, they had major weight gain and relatively strength gains, but then a few weeks after they lost it. So what's the point of taking D-ball? I don't know, it's stupid. I'm just going to continue through. Well, okay. I like the fact that you're not sensationalizing this. You seem humble and honest. Thank you for sharing your experience. I've used PEDs, but never Anavar. So I use Anavar only cycle, again, at that 20 milligrams, and then upped it to 40 milligrams. And at 20 milligrams, I think it could be used as Anavar only, but once I brought it to that 40 milligrams, it's like, okay, I think you need that test base, because it's the DHT, and it's just going to kill your testosterone. And that's what it did do. I think like things like sex drive and things kind of fell at the end, but at the same time, I felt what the power was of Anavar, which is as a pre-workout, it took like a beast mode. Like the intensity levels in the central nervous system drive was there. So what I'm planning to do with Anavar is, towards the end of this cycle, this blast, is add it at the end after the primos kicked in and things, because you only run Anavar for like 6 weeks. I wouldn't run it more than that. You can, but I wouldn't, because there's toxicity there as well. But it's worth it in a degree, because the anabolic properties are pretty substantial, and the strength and the drive in the gym is pretty good. Taking it sublingually under the tongue, there's a lot of veins, big veins, and it just dissolves through, like the barrier, that whatever the barrier is there, like the skin barrier. Like, you know, people take testosterone cream under their nutsack, and it absorbs through that, and they get testosterone that way through the skin. Well, under there, it's a lot more porous. It absorbs through that barrier, and the fact that it's a fat soluble, I believe that is why it does that. It crosses that barrier. Somebody asked, am I taking testosterone too? Yeah, I'm taking testosterone cypionate. Let's see, I'll just pull it up here. Here we go. I'm taking this testosterone cypionate from Olympic Gold in Canada. You from a website here in Canada, Underground Lab. But I'm planning on, and I mentioned this in a video a few videos ago, that I'm looking at getting a better source. But at the same time, I tested this. Again, I made a video on this as well. That I recommend getting these test kits, steroid test kits. You can get for any compound. There's a color chart, and it says if it's test enanthate or any other one, cestonon, it'll come up as darker brown. This one came up as kind of a gold brown, and it sure enough was testosterone cypionate. And then there's another ampule that you put a few drops in, and it's like, okay, if this one changes color, then there's something, another compound in it, but it didn't change color, so it was legit. But there's also other places where you can send in samples, and they will tell you to the exact percentage whether what the compound is, whether it's HGH or anything, whether it's trenbolone, acetate, or anything. Some guy says, you look like you never took gear in your life. Well, I just started, so what do you expect? Hans Kazan, you never took gear in your life. Yeah, well, I took HGH last year, and it was in like 4 milligrams, or sorry, 4 IUs a day, which is like a very low dose, and without any other anabolic compounds, and that was for the sole purpose of rebuilding joints, which I think it did. It's not like I blew the fuck up or anything. I haven't started a true cycle up until 1 month ago. Okay, I took the antiviral before, it doesn't count. Testosterone cypionate, again, titrated it up to the 400 milligrams just the last few weeks, and then adding the Primo in that, and then I'm going to add the HGH in that. So I haven't even started yet, bro. Oh, that's my answer to your question. Look forward to see your gains, especially with CrossFit, by Pays Lim MC2. And my girlfriend got me into CrossFit. She's from Bolivia, and she's big into CrossFit there, like part of the major gym in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. She lives in Canada now, and she got me into CrossFit. Normally I'm just a gym kind of rat guy, and I always thought CrossFit was kind of gay, to be honest. Well, it just didn't match my workout philosophy. I was strength training / bodybuilder, but I think there is a lot of benefits there, and it's working my weak spots. Like I was doing last week a bunch of knee raises and swinging from a bar, and then adding pull-ups. So I should do pull-up. I do pull-ups already, but this whole combination of the circuit that we're doing, like, I'm still feeling it 4 days after in my abs and things. I don't normally do ab work, so it's working. It's working my weak points, which is great, and it's pushing my cardio limits as well, my intensity limits as well. Last one. Thank you for posting these. Your videos are a huge help, and that's the kind of response I like to hear. I like to I'm just putting it out there, what's on my mind, and if it's being reciprocated by people, that is beautiful to me. Like, that's what I want. That's the whole purpose of my page. I don't want to project some expertise, like I'm an expert on the subject, but at the same time, like I was saying before, I have a science background, and I'm able to discern things, and I'm doing mad research, like pretty much 2 hours a day, most days. I'm listening to different podcasts on guys that I feel are very reputable. Some of these guys have been taking PEDs for 20 plus years. They compete in professional bodybuilding. Some of them are in like the 45, 50 age class up, you know what I mean? So they're up there, and some of them are doctors, actual, and most of the guys I listen to, about 75%, are actual coaches. So that's what I'm looking for, is that mentorship, right? To become a master in something, there's 3 stages. The first stage is to imitate. The second stage is to apply it, and the third stage is to then adapt and create your own, right? So I'm at the first stage. I'm at a research stage. I'm in the imitation stage, but in doing so, I'm reflecting that to you guys, because from my own experience on the interwebs, there's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of chaos. So you got to find you gotta be able to discern what's real and what's not real. Like what is valid and what is not valid. Some things are more valid than others, and in doing so, that's what I've been doing. So, and I feel like I found the recipe. I found the formula that's going to work for me, that I'm going to put into practice. And then, but I'm at the beginning of that journey. We'll see how it goes. It's exciting, and I'm sharing that process like a diary. First of all, I'm recording it for myself, but I'm also recording it for people who listen and then see the progress. Like, okay, look at me now. Whatever. I'm not like a fucking huge jacked guy or anything, but I'm like, okay, 215 pounds. Well, we'll see in 3 months how that goes. And if it works on my diet and my exercise and my PED use, then the results will be there. And again, the proof will be in the pudding. So thanks guys for watching. If you have any more comments, leave down below. I'll plan to do kind of one of these responses. I want to be very personable and respond to every question and comment. So leave in the comments below if you have any, okay? And I'd be happy to talk more with anybody about any concern, any criticism of what I'm doing, but as well, any compliment or anything you want me to expand on, I will as well. And I'll even do the research. If you have a question, I'll spend 3 hours researching, because that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to do, all right? Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.